Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Namaduhu wa nasalli ala Rasul al-Kareem. Viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to translate verses 14 and 15 of Surah Jinn, which is chapter 72 of the Quran. Inshallah, God willing, it will show how the message of the Quran can be distorted through inaccurate translations. The enemies of Islam know that they cannot change the Quran, but they know they can distort the message of the Quran through misleading translations. The Ahmedi translators, for example, obviously don't like the word Muslim in the Quran, so they use general words like believers, obedience, submission, surrender, instead of using the word Muslim, which is used repeatedly in the Quran. Muslims, they use the word Muslim. They think the word Muslim is too specific for them. They choose to use other words as a substitute. The question is why they want to qualify the word Muslim with Ahmedi. Why are they not content with the word Muslim? The reason is that they know their beliefs are different from the beliefs of the Muslims. Generally, the ulama in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh know about their beliefs, but people in non-Muslim countries, especially the West and in African countries, people do not know how their beliefs are different from the Muslims. They reach out to such people under the label of Islam and distort the message of Islam through their translations. They give the impression to the people in non-Muslim countries that they are the true Muslims. Most people in these countries do not know that they have been declared a non-Muslim minority in Pakistan. Ahmedi translators avoid using the word Muslim, which is used repeatedly in the Quran, because they understand the use of the word Muslim in the Quran excludes all non-Muslims like Jews, Christians, and Hindus, and even the Ahmedi Muslims. The deliberate use of the word like obedience, submission, etc., would make their readers think that the Quran is not excluding non-Muslims. This is most misleading and inaccurate. These translators know that most of the readers who read the English translations of the Quran are not able to read the Quran in Arabic and will not know what the Quran is really saying. So today I'm going to translate verses 14 and 15 of Surah Jinn, and the translation of these verses is, "And of us some are Muslims." Now the Quran is talking here about the jinn, the unseen creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of us some are Muslims, and of us some are disbelievers. And whoever has embraced Islam. Now here the Quran is using the word Islam. So keep in mind the Arabic word in the Quran is Islam. It says, and whoever has embraced Islam, that has become a Muslim, submitting to Allah, that is, and then such have sought the right path. And verse 15 says, and as for the disbelievers, they shall be the firewood for hell. So once again, the word here in the Quran, which the Arabic is Muslim, which is not, the accurate translation is the word Muslim. And it says 15, and as for the disbelievers, they shall be firewood for hell. Now compare this translation of the Quran with the translation by the Ahmedi translator, Muhammad Zafarullah Khan. This is how he translates this verse. Some of us are obedient and some are unjust. So he's not using the word Muslim. Instead of saying Muslim, he's saying obedient. So readers will not know that the Quran is using the word Muslim. It is, some of us are obedient and some are unjust. It is the obedient who seek guidance. The unjust are the fuel for hell. This is how Muhammad Zafarullah Khan translates this verse. He's avoiding the use of the word Muslim. Compare this and see the people who follow the Ahmedi translation, like people like Muhammad Asad and Pickthall. This is how Muhammad Asad translates these verses. He says, "And it is true that among us are such as have surrendered themselves to God." So he's not using the word Muslim also. The Quran is using the word Muslim, and instead of that he's saying, "And some of us, yet among us are such as have surrendered themselves to God, just as there are among us such as have abandoned themselves to wrongdoing." Now, as for those who surrender themselves to Him, it is that they have attained to righteous consciousness, which is right. He's not using the word Muslim or Islam. But as for those who abandon themselves to wrongdoing, they are indeed fuel for the fire of hell. So notice once again, Muhammad Asad, who is following the same path as Muhammad Zafarullah Khan, the Ahmedi, the openly declared Ahmedis, translator of the Quran. He's using the same language or similar language. Muhammad Pickthall, translating these verses, uses similar language. And as verse 14 says, "And there are among us some who have surrendered to Allah." He's not using the word Muslim. He's avoiding the use of the word Muslim. "And there are among us some who are unjust, and whosoever has surrendered to Allah." Now the Quran is using the word Islam. He's omitting the word Islam from the translation, and he's saying, "Surrendered to Allah, such have taken the right path purposefully." And verse 15 he says, "And as for those who are unjust, they are the fire wood for hell." Now just imagine what a big difference it makes. The Quran is using specific language. The Quran is saying Muslim. The Quran is saying Islam. And those people who are out of that, the Quran is saying they are the fire wood for hell. And all these three translators are not avoiding the use of the word Islam and Muslim. So readers, just see for yourself what a big difference it makes to the understanding of the Quran. Wa akhir ad-dawana in alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.